Too cold, too hot. It's like
I got all these hot people in here.
Just right.
That's right. I don't need no heater with y'all in the house.
That's right.
I don't know what I'm thinking about. Okay. I forgot who in here. That's right. I got the hottest women in Denver in here.
Yeah, absolutely. Kidding?
What I need with heat, I need to turn on the air conditioning. That's what I need.
That's right.
I'm telling you. Okay, we're going to be on Feeling is the Doorway to Love and Freedom in The Way of the Heart on page 78 if you got the book. Remember, you don't have to believe it, you don't have to accept it, you don't have to welcome it. If you use it, you'll see that it works. And what we're coming here for is to hear something different that might bring more peace and love and joy and happiness in our lives. So, I'm going to cover some material, then throw it open for any questions or discussion, and then cover some more. That way we'll move forward in the material. So here's a chair here and a chair here. There are two right there. All right, so take a breath. If you're here for the first time, you did successfully land in the Twilight Zone. So everything is cool. And you did it. You pulled it off. You want to go into an alternative universe, you found it. If your commitment is indeed to look within and discover each and every obstacle you've ever created to the presence of love, why do you resist feeling those things? If your commitment is indeed to look within and discover each and every obstacle you've ever created to the presence of love, why do you resist feeling those things? For well has it been said to you that on just the other side is the very love you seek. So the very love you seek is on the other side of every obstacle that you've ever created to the presence of love within yourself. On the other side of every obstacle and every block and every fear and every guilt and every sense of anger and upset that you feel, on the other side of that is all the love you've ever wanted to feel and to know. On the other side of your judgments, on the other side of your opinions, on the other side of your upsets, on the other side of your analyzing, on the other side of your doubts is all the love you've ever wanted to experience. So deny not the role of feeling in this dimension, because in this dimension, feeling is everything. And in the West, we tend to think the intellect is everything. Thinking is everything, not feeling. All right? You know, it's like you're much more respected for, it seems like, what you think than what you feel. But the truth is, feeling is everything. Because everything that we seek for, what we're seeking is the feeling that we think we're going to have when we have it. You know what I'm saying? If I want a relationship, it's because of the feeling I think I'm going to have when I have the relationship. If I want money, it's the feeling of security that I think I'm going to have if I have the money. You see what I'm saying? It's feeling is the ultimate thing that we're desiring. If you want to be with somebody and you want to love on them, why? It's because the feeling you think you're going to have when you're being loved on. Feeling is everything. You know, it's nothing worse than spending time with somebody and you go, I don't feel you. And then one of the most popular statements that people make now is, you know, can you feel me? Can you feel me? So I'm much more interested in people feeling me when they come here than analyzing me when they come here. Because I know there are as many different perceptions as there are people that's sitting in here. And there's many different ways of seeing things as there are people in here. And the way that we establish our individuality is through pointing out to ourselves the differences between us and the people around us, right? That's why it looks like you see me. It looks like I sound different from you. It seems like I look different from you. It seems like I got on different clothes from you. It looks like I'm in a different position in this room from you. So all perceptions are based on differences. And when you start focusing in on the heart and the love and the oneness, it shifts from differences to sameness. And that's why when you get with somebody and y'all connect and you lose your sense of separation, and you join and you feel joy together and love together, usually right after that you separate so that you can rebuild your separate self again. Or we create some type of an argument or some type of a disagreement or fear to establish that we're different again. So one of the things that we fear the most, according to the way of mastering the Course in Miracles, is the thing we think we're seeking the most, which is joining. You know, so just as an experiment in what I'm saying, would you introduce yourself to each person on the other side of you if you don't know them? And if you do know them, greet them. Greet them. The person,
Greet them.
Greet them. What's up, All right, okay. All right, now notice that we just joined and extended to each other, right? Did you notice the difference in the energy in the room immediately? Okay, so now we got to judge, criticize, and condemn each other so we can go back into our separate spaces.
Ready to go.
Because we join, then we lose our sense of separation, sense of separate identity, right? And didn't it feel good to feel like you weren't in a room full of total strangers and people? See, joining is what we're looking for, but we think it's all the other things that we're trying to do that's going to do it, you know? Because it looks like people will join with you the more special you are, you know? So we're busy trying to establish our individuality and our uniqueness so that we can be noticed, and sometimes people will connect with us. The Course in Miracles teaches that the one desire underlying everything in the world is the desire to be special, different in some way. That's the common denominator, is that we want to be special, we want to be significant, we want to be seen, we do. And so we think by doing our own individual thing, that's how we would do it, which is true. I mean, if you truly express your own uniqueness, then you really would be an awesome presence in the world. But the challenge is that we buy into the idea that we need to conform to some type of illusionary value that someone else has made up to make themselves special. You know what I'm saying? So the person who tells you what the fashion trends are for this fall, that a person goes through so many different changes to get those fashions, that's actually supporting the specialness of the person that created it. You know, so in a sense, you know, what we call our cultural values are really beliefs that are made up that a lot of people agree on, not an actual reflection of what's true. I guarantee you will not die if you wear white in the fall. I swear, you won't just, what did she die from, Joe? She died from wearing white in the fall. That killed her dead. But that's the way we act. Like those kind of values really friggin' mean something. You know what I mean? It's really funny, the things that we value. They're just made up, you know? So, you know, you remove all the air from this room, you're pretty much going to have a lot of bodies laid out on the floor. So the things that are real are things that we all share and all need. You know, so that means that whatever is in the air, whatever that life force is, that's what really is alive and what's keeping us alive. So we are all sharing the life force. So that means we must be the same thing ultimately, which is really cool. That means we're the same thing pretending that we're different. So we could have a lot of fun if we looked at it that way. Like we're all one, but we're pretending we're not. And so therefore we can revel in what appears to be our uniqueness, because we would still realize behind our uniqueness is that same oneness that we are and that we share. So then I would be excited about the uniqueness in you that you would show me, because that would be another aspect of myself that I'd get a chance to play with. Because there's nothing I like to do more than playing with myself. Don't you like to play with yourself too? That's okay, you can admit it in here. You can even play with yourself in here. That's how innocent we are. Because that's what you're doing when you join with anybody in here in the spirit of life and joy, right? So it says, feeling is everything. You can't even know the presence of God unless you feel it. You can't think about the presence of God or the presence of love. You cannot insist on a belief about the presence of God or the presence of love. That does not do it. That doesn't, thinking about how much you love me doesn't do it as much as feeling how much you love me and I love you. I pray to God every day that whatever blocks in me to keep you from feeling my love for you be removed. It would be nothing that would thrill me more than to know that the people who come to my classes are feeling my love for them. You know, because love just cuts right through the chase. You know what I mean? You just can't resist love. When love is really being expressed, you don't sit back and go, I don't know if I want to feel this or not. You know, if it's real love, it's like it's compelling. It's magnetic. You know, have you ever met somebody that you just felt just drawn to? You know, like you almost couldn't help yourself? Yeah, that was guilt. That's what I do. That's what sometimes when I find myself having a strong attraction, especially if it's a physical attraction to somebody, I go, okay, Holy Spirit, I felt my attraction to guilt today. You know, because the guilt, most of the guilt that I've ever felt has always come through the relationships I've had. Is that true for you too? Yeah, that really, pretty much nobody in my world makes me feel guilty. I've given myself the most guilt in my special relationships. Whether it's the relationship with my children or my relatives or my friends, it's like the people that I'm most attracted to on a special level have been the ones I've used to make myself feel guilty sometimes. I'm not saying it has to be that way every time, but to be honest, that's how I've used my relationships in the past. And so it's saying to us, feeling fills your cup. Feeling, unbridled, unblocked, unobstructed feeling. It's the doorway to love that sets you free. So to be around someone and to be in situations where you don't allow yourself to feel is to cut yourself off from feeling alive. Mm-hmm. Now, those of us in male bodies, we've almost been taught to allow ourselves to feel our feelings is to make us less than masculine. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So many times men express their feelings most easily in the form of anger. Mm-hmm. You know, so we'll be angry in a minute, but it's very seldom you're going to see a man go, because we are taught that's the last thing you would do is feel your feelings, and let alone express them like that. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times we are not really adept at dealing with our emotions and feelings, you know. Because most of the time you hear about men walking into a house blowing everybody away because they feel that the relationship broke up or something happened. You know, it's like dealing with our emotions sometimes is not what we are very good at because we've been so used to repressing them and not expressing them. You know, so I've been really working on allowing myself to feel my feelings and express my feelings and and it's really improved my relationship with myself, and it's definitely improved my relationship with women. Mm. You know, and it definitely hasn't made me any less masculine. As a matter of fact, I feel more masculine than I've ever felt in my life because I feel like I'm more aware now. It was like I was cutting myself off from my own radar, you know. So men, if any of y'all need to bust out and cry tonight, right on. You know, just let it out. You know, it'll be okay. We'll be all right. We'll just talk about you later. You know, because sometimes women are quick to tell you, I want to have a sensitive man. I want to have a man that really expresses his feelings, and then when he do it, and they're like, oh. It's a setup. The sensitive man don't get none. Okay, so He's the one you talk to about the one you are going to give it to. You a sensitive man. Friend zone. I was in high school. They had women break up with me because they said I was too nice. Isn't that ridiculous? So what you want me to do? Just slap you around a little bit, you know? So therefore, when you say, I don't want to feel this, rest assured you are truly saying, yes, the doorway to the kingdom of heaven, which is the kingdom of joy, is right in front of me. But if I think I'm going to open it, you are crazy. It's not worth it anyway. What is worth it is protecting the substitute for love and joy that I have made. I have called this the ego. The ego is the false self, what I once described to you as a gnat shouting at space. That's what I'm committed to. And I'm going to protect. Now, what is my ego? My ego is my image of myself and my idea of myself and my beliefs about who I am. It is my self-concept. It's who I think I am. And so people say they want to grow and they say they want to learn, and then they find out that they have a lot of resistance. That resistance is the fear of losing my self-concept, what I think I am, what I believe is true, what I believe about myself. We don't realize how much we identify with our beliefs and how much we think we are our beliefs. You know, you tell a child they're stupid, they're stupid, they're stupid, they're stupid, they're stupid. And at some point they're going to say, I'm stupid, I'm stupid, I'm stupid. That's going to be their image of themselves. And they're going to go through life as if they're stupid, and life will validate that they are stupid because the outer world reflects what I believe about myself. So that person will think they are what they think they are. And that's what we're being taught, that we think we are what we think we are. And then the truth is teaching us, well, this is a surefire test to tell if you are telling the truth about what you think you are. If the thought of who you are makes you feel complete joy, love, happiness, compassion, if who you think you are is connected and thrilled and valuable and beautiful, then your thoughts about yourself are in line with who you really are. But if you feel any other way about yourself, you're lying to yourself about who and what you are. If you think you're not enough, if you think you're not powerful, if you think you are not loved, you're lying to yourself. But who wants to lie to themselves? Nobody. So when you say I'm lying to myself, it makes you want to not do it. But if I think it's the truth, then I'm going to draw people to me who validate it, who seem to tell me, you know what, you are stupid. You think you're stupid? I'm your mate, and I will tell you, you are stupid. That's what you hired me for, to witness to you what you think you are. And the person who's witnessing back to you what you believe about yourself, you will be attracted to. And the person who's not witnessing what you believe about yourself, then you won't be attracted to them, really. Because what you really want is a witness. The Course in Miracles calls it, we're here to be each other's witness. So I'm here to witness back to you that you're valuable. That's my job. Why? Because I think I am. And I want to know my value. The easiest way is to show you your value in my eyes. Because you know a mirror always reflects back what's in front of it. And so this is a three-dimensional mirror. This is a three-dimensional painting. You are the artist, but you are so powerful, you have the ability to put yourself inside the picture that you paint. Now that's deep. This is your creation. This is coming from your consciousness in your mind, everything that you're seeing right now. So I ask you, how do you feel about it? Not what do you think about it. How do you feel about this moment? How do you feel about the people in this room? How do you feel right now? So the false self is the self that I made up. And then he says, I'm going to protect this thing. Give up heaven, which is happiness, to protect this useless little thing. What useless little thing? My idea of myself that is not bringing me joy. My ego. He says, oh yes, you better believe I'd be willing to make that sacrifice. What's heaven or happiness anyway? It's a bunch of love stuff. A bunch of people running around in bliss. Some of them without bodies. Now that's what I call naked. I'm going to take my body off. That's deep. Isn't that deep? Yeah. Wow, if we took our bodies off, then we wouldn't see any difference between each other. That's interesting. We would like immediately know we were the same thing without the bodies to make us think we're different. So if I want to lose sight of my oneness with everybody, it's very important that I focus in on the body, because the body is the witness that we're different. So the reason I like to focus in on the body so much is because it's actually subconsciously keeps me unaware that I'm one with you. And then I judge whether or not I want to deal with you based on your body. So I want to act out my fear because I don't really know what love is yet. So I'm really looking for somebody not to make love with, but to make fear with. Because I don't even know what it really is. And the Course teaches, right out of the book, and the Course teaches that then I look around putting special emphasis on certain body parts. I'm not making this a straight out of the Course in Miracles. To decide who to act out my special form of fear with. I don't know what love is. I need somebody to act out my version of love. And I'm going to choose who that's going to be by their body parts. And if they have the kind of, whoever has the body parts I like the most is the one I'd be willing to act out my fear with. Will you go out with me? Because you have the breast of fear.
Is that like the penis of fear?
Oh, wow. She must really feel safe. She must really feel safe. She asked me about the penis of fear. I'd be known to have that. It'll ban us off the internet.
That's right.
We're going to be banned. I'm going to be banned.
They open their mouth.
What?
Right. Then they open their mouth. What you talking about? That's right. Because sometimes you're really attracted to people that act out your special form of fear based on their special body parts, and then they talk.
Oh, no.
And then that blows the whole thing. Have you ever been really attracted to somebody until you talk to them? Oh my God, if you just had not said anything, you would have got lucky tonight. You just could have been quiet. You know what I'm saying? Because I was going to use you to act out my special form of fear. That's it's really deep. And the Course in Miracles talks this where it's like all this in chapter 18. So like I said, between the Way of Mastery and the Course in Miracles, it's so funny to hear how it communicates, because it calls for me to have to be so honest with myself, So the next time you feel an attraction to somebody, you want to ask yourself, what is the purpose? What is it for? What is the purpose? What is it for? What is the purpose? What is it for? I want to spend time with you. What is the purpose? What is it for? What is the purpose? What is it for? Because that's going to determine how it turns out. It's going to turn out according to the goal. Okay? So a bunch of love stuff, which is a bunch of people running around in bliss, some of them without bodies, hanging out in unlimitedness, fearlessness, and utter fulfillment. Who wants that?
Yeah.
Who needs it? Oh, but this little gnat, this little ego, this little gnat of mine, oh, I'm going to make it shine. This little gnat of mine, I'm going to make it shine. This little gnat of mine, I'm going to make it shine.
My ego is a gnat.
Yeah. Say what?
My ego is a gnat.
It's calling our ego a little gnat. I love it. I love it. How many times have you tried to make that little gnat shine? For instance, you go, everybody notice it's shining. Please notice how great I am. I'm making my gnat shine. just like Shakespeare would say, to gnat or not to gnat. That is the question.
It's not about truth.
That's right.
That's what NAT stands for.
That's right. Not about truth. Greatly not about truth.
Yeah, great.
Oh, that was good.
That was good.
That was all right.
And it's on tape.
Give her a high five there, Trinity.
A high three.
All right, don't get me to talking about that stuff. See, I mess around here and think I'm safe and then talk too much. Okay.
Then we'll be talking about you later.
The instance. Hey, everybody notice it's shining. Please notice how great I am. I'm making my net shine. Listen to my whining. And this is how you make your ego shine. Listen to my whining. Listen to my complaining and lamenting. Listen to my great and look at my great sadness. So you see somebody that's whining, complaining, lamenting, and sad, you go, oh, how grand your gnat is. I see your gnat is shining. I'll show you my gnat if you show me Meanwhile, the love of God flows through a multitude of universes and creates forever, even new universes. And the love of God does not even notice the gnat at all. No one is paying any attention. Your friends around you don't want to pay attention, although sometimes you corner them. I love this book. Although you corner them and they have no choice. Here comes her little natty ass.
Tell your best friends. They notice your shiny gnat.
Thank you.
Well, your friends laugh at your gnat. You know, I would tell my friends, you know, if I'm about to share something that I'm about to complain about or feel bad about or lament, usually I'll ask that that they laugh at it. That I'll share it with you if you'll laugh at it, because I want it to be laughed away, because I'm taking it too seriously right now. So I think it's easier for people to laugh at your problems than to sometimes just join in it with you, because you don't want anybody to join in the suffering with you. You want them to help you not suffer by not joining in the suffering with you. But those of us without bodies. Now, this book keeps emphasizing that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and that we're more than our bodies, and that we're using our bodies as a means of joining and communicating, or we're using our bodies as a means to separate. Okay? But who we are is beyond bodies. That we're these unlimited consciousness, mind, and spiritual beings. So if that's true, then it sounds reasonable to kind of entertain the idea that there could be parts of ourselves that are not in bodies. That there could be beings, just like there are beings in here in bodies, there could be beings without bodies. Woo. Woo.
I hope so.
So when people talk about this as a channeled book, or a book is channeled, it's really sharing that something outside of the perception that we have is trying to reach us through the body. So then we become channels for a higher consciousness to come through. So channeling is just our ability to communicate with the part of us that's beyond the body, that spirit. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
So the part of us that is outside of the body, that's aware of its eternal nature that we've forgotten about, is trying to reach us and communicate with us and tell us what we need to think and believe in order to free ourselves from the fear that makes us think we're separate from each other and separate from God. Because the only thing that makes us think we're separate from each other is fear. And laughter joins us immediately. Like notice every time we would laugh, we would join. So the world will not end in pain. The world will end in laughter. You'll laugh it all away. You know, you're gonna be laughing at you're gonna look at some of the relationships you've made, and you're just gonna laugh. You're gonna look at your bank account, and you're gonna laugh like the people in the bank do. Do you know that the average ticket for the Super Bowl is $4,000?
Oh my God.
And on the cheap site, they're $2,700. And at those prices, they have one seat that's $180,000. And they're going to sell out. So that just lets you know where we are on the prosperity scale. Because because we think that's a lot of money. They also said it was like I was watching the news, and they were saying that they did this study, and they found out that there were 95 families in the world that that less than 1% of the population of the world have 46% of the wealth in the world, and that there were 95 families that were worth more financially than 2.3 billion people. Because they were talking about the gap between the haves and the have-nots and how much it's growing. And so it's really interesting. Now, my ego, my gnat would say, judge them. You know. But the judging and the condemnation and being the haters is what would convince the universe that must be what you want to be is without it. Because you're condemning the people who have it. So that's the same as saying, well, I don't want it. So think about that the next time you get ready to condemn something. You're telling the universe that that's not something that I want. You know. So sometimes the people who are the poorest are the ones condemning the people who appear to have it. But the truth is, we all are the creators of our experience, and everyone has exactly what they're creating for themselves. So I need to be asking myself, why do I have a consciousness that I think $5 is a lot of money? Yes.
And get to, with that the rich people who are condemning the poor are keeping themselves rich with the same concept. Right? So they're pushing away other poor people.
They're pushing, which is kind of interesting to say. It's like they're pushing away, in a weird sort of work of the law, they're pushing away poverty by not identifying with it. That's not me. That's not how I'm going to do it. Now, at some point on our spiritual journey, we come to recognize it's all us. And all that I give is given to myself because it's all myself. That's all I'm looking at is myself because there's just one self looking like it's many. So don't forget that. You know, if we're just one self, and this is deep. I like to throw out concepts like this every now and then to mess with our minds. So this is deep, right? So we're all one. And let's say a person is getting ready to shoot someone, right? And let's say they do that, right? But it's really me shooting me, right? So that means I get a chance to see it from the perspective of the shooter. But sooner or later, unless I change my mind and become more loving and get in touch with who I really am in spirit and become forgiving and loving, then I'll have to experience it from the perspective of the victim who was shot, because that's me too. So everything I'm giving, I receive. because it's all me. So that's why we're being asked to give what we want to receive. Because sooner or later, if it's all one, you see it from the perspective of the perpetrator. But if it's just me, then at some point, I'm going to see it from the perspective of being the victim.
And vice versa.
And vice versa. That means I was the perpetrator as well as being the victim. It's my dream. If you go to sleep at night and you have a dream, and you dream you were chased by a bear on going down the street or in a forest, right? It could be going down the street in this part of the country, but in the forest. You know, in Denver, people go outside and they see a bear up in their tree, you know. But when you wake up, you realize that everything and everybody in the dream was your own mind. The street was, the cars were, the people were. You wake up and you realize that you were the bear and the one running down the street, because it was all your dream. It was made up of your mind. Think about that for a minute, right? That's deep. Suppose you still are dreaming, but you think you are awake. Then the same thing is true, that you're experiencing your own mind. We are you, you are us. We are one. Woo. Well, so then if it's just my dream, then I created the bear that was chasing what appeared to be me down the street, which meant the bear was doing what I wanted the bear to do in my dream. Well, if this is a dream, then everybody's doing exactly what you want them to do, and they're treating you exactly how you want to be treated, because it's your dream. Ooh. So then what's really important is to get to the point that your consciousness is loving, so that only love will be coming through the figures in your dream. And that's what's happening to me more and more as I practice the truth and let go of my grievances, is that no matter where I am, who I'm around, love is coming through them. And it's kind of freaky. You know, I was coming back into the States from England, and I was getting ready to go through customs, and I handed her my passport, and she said, what do you do? I said, well, I'm a teacher and a minister. And she said, what do you teach? I said, well, I teach people about how to let go of anger, guilt, grievances in the past, and to be more loving and peaceful right now. She said, that's right. We really need to have more love, and we really need to have more peace in the world. Just go on through. Now, you know custom agents don't talk like that. You know, but it was my dream. I remember one time I was I had to change planes in Canada to go to London, and I forgot to print out a boarding pass, and I had to get on board. The plane was about to leave, and I had to get through the TA. You know, when you first come in, they look for your boarding pass before they let you through when you show them your license, right? So I said, okay, Holy Spirit, I got to get out of here. I got to get to London, you know, and I forgot to print the thing out, and it wasn't anywhere where I could, and it was packed because there had been a snowstorm. And I said, okay. I walked up to the TSA agent, and I said, I have to get on that plane in an hour, but I don't have a boarding pass. And they said, okay. And that walked through. And then I came up on another one, and I said, I need to get on that airplane, but I don't have a boarding pass. They said, okay. And they let me through. See, nobody would believe that kind of stuff. But when you study metaphysics and new thought, and you get in touch with who you really are and realize it's your creation and it's your reality, then you start to see things happen that will freak you out. But most people, they never see that because they don't believe it's possible. They think they know everything that's possible, and then their reality conforms to that. You know. Plus, I didn't look at that person as if they were separate from me, because in my mind I'm going, okay, this is my dream. I got spirit with me. I need to make this move, and if spirit wants me to be there, spirit will make a way for me to be there. And that's exactly what happened. And I can tell you story after story after story after story after story like that in the last 20 years of studying this stuff. It just doesn't make any sense. I had been working one time doing 5 classes a week, and I had a center in Memphis, Tennessee back in the 90s, and I was doing 5 classes a week non-stop, and I hadn't taken a break and hadn't taken a vacation, and I was on the way to the class, and it was a Wednesday afternoon, and I said, Holy Spirit, I need to have a vacation. I need to have some time, a sabbatical, just to get away for a minute, get myself centered. But I had the center that had to, you had to pay the bills and all this other stuff that you have to do, right? And I asked, because the Course says I can ask for the right perception and ask. And I went there. It was maybe it was a small group that day, maybe 9 or 10 people. It was a Wednesday in the middle of the week or whatever. And then I went to the love offering basket afterwards, and there was a check in there for $5,000. And then I did my class the next night, and then there was a check in there for $1,000 and another check in there for $2,500.
Wow.
So I manifested $7,500 in 48 hours, the ones I asked, with the perception that I wanted to be used and I wanted to be healed and I wanted to be a conduit for good and for love in the world. So when I see stuff like I'm sustained by the love of God and all that kind of stuff, could you imagine trying to do what I do for the last 28 years, doing stuff 90% of it freely, love offering basis? If I didn't believe in God, I'd be a nervous wreck. People come and go. You never know who's going to be here, But if I believe I'm sustained by the love of God, and I'm totally thankful for the channels, which mean people who are willing to be used and see my value enough to share with me, because they realize I'm just like them. I have to eat. I have to do all this stuff. So it's us together. It's not looking to you to take care of me. It's looking to God to take care of me. And that's the only way you ever be free. Those of you who don't want to be on jobs that you hate, you got to cultivate a belief in your connection to Source, or you'll never be able to do that. Because you would quit your job and just be worrying all the time. It wouldn't be any fun at all. So if you don't have a really strong faith in yourself and a really strong faith in your Source, you are actually in the best position to have a job to go to every day to keep your fear down. Because it takes an entirely different mindset to be self-employed than it does to work for you. You cannot take an employed by somebody else's mind and then go into a situation where you think you'll be doing your own thing self-employed, because they're two entirely different mindsets. And the more you think it's you taking care of yourself, the more unpleasant and fearful the experience will be, because you'll be too busy worrying about how you're going to do it, and then trying to spend every moment manipulating in your mind how you're going to come up with the money to pay your bills. And that's how you'll be preoccupied on trying to get. But if you look at it like I'm here to be light and love on the planet, and that I have a function to fill for the healing of the planet, and I'm going to be a conduit, and I'm looking to my Source, which we call God, to use me to carry that love out, that union out, that connection out, that healing out. I'm here to be an instrument. Then you tap into the part of the universe and the part of spirit that will provide for you in ways that don't make sense. In ways that you just go, that just couldn't be. How did that? What? Did that really happen? I remember when I first moved here, I didn't have a car. I was brand new in town. And I went to a party, and I said, okay, Holy Spirit, you got me to Denver. For some reason or another, you brought me here, because the way it happened was too freaky, And so I was at the party. I said, yeah, I'm here. I don't have a car. I'm just, tuning in. And the guy said to me, well, I have a car that you can use. And it's got gas and it's got insurance. And I'll come over tomorrow, and I'll pick you up, and I'll take you to pick it up, and you can have it. and within a month, I was offered 2 more cars. I'm serious. You know why? Because I'm sustained by the love of God. I want to get in touch with love. I want to see everybody as love. I want to be used for spiritual purposes. Deep. So most people don't believe it's really that easy, because if you don't believe it, you don't see it. So why should you try it? Your mind doesn't believe it, so you won't see it. So you're right to doubt it, because this is a mirror, and it's going to reflect your consciousness. And if you don't believe miracles are possible, they won't be for you and your perception. And even if one happens, you won't see it, because you don't believe it's there. So you're surrounded by love that you don't even see, because you don't believe it's there. And so you're shocked as you begin to wake up in consciousness, and you begin to see all the love that's around you that you didn't even know was there. and it's been there all the time, but you didn't see it because you had your hands over your eyes. And just because you have your hands over your eyes does not mean you've lost the capacity to see. It just means you're interfering with the laws of seeing because you got your friggin' hands over your eyes. And so the Course teaches that we're walking around with our friggin' hands over our eyes saying that there is no love for me. Now, you see how I got my hands over my eyes? So what am I seeing? And so what do you see when you have your hands over your eyes? Do you see darkness? Okay, so it's in darkness that you begin to see images, right? So when you in darkness, you make up images. You see images when you're asleep in darkness, right? So that's what's happening. That's what the Course is saying to us, that we're seeing images in the darkness because we have our hands over our eyes, that we don't know the truth. So we're making up images and reacting to it. So all of us are making up images of everybody and everything around us, pictures and fantasies about everything and everybody around us, and then reacting to it as if it's true, just like I would if I had my hands over my eyes, imagining that there was a truck driving by. It's just happening in my own mind, because you see in your mind. You know you see in your mind, right? Because at night your eyes are closed, but you still see images. So you know sight isn't dependent on your physical eyes. Deep.
That's why they call it insight.
That's what it is. It's insight. It's insight. So what I'm saying is, what do you think we'll see when we open our eyes?
Love.
That's right. That's right. Like when you're a kid and you're scared at night and you're screaming and you know your mama come in there and say, hey, everything's going to be all right. You were having a nightmare, but you were in a totally safe place having the nightmare. That's us. We're totally surrounded by love, having nightmares that we're making up in our own mind. And so love is telling us now, it's time to wake up from your nightmare. Wake up. Now, if you're having a fearful dream and somebody grabs you to wake you up in the fearful dream, for a few seconds, you'll think that person is part of your nightmare, and they'll scare you too by grabbing you, right? You know, I'm having a nightmare. You grab me to wake me up. I'm going, ah! Right? So initially you see your help as something to be afraid of. And that's what we're experiencing when we're afraid of these new thoughts and ideas. We're like this person that's afraid and who's being shaken by the truth. And at first we are afraid of the truth that we're hearing. And we think it's going to cause us to lose or sacrifice in some way. And that's why people fight these new ideas, because they think they're going to lose somehow. Because we're being awakened and we're initially afraid of the truth. That's okay. That's normal. Because after you're scared, you go, whoo! Then all of a sudden you go, oh, okay, cool. And that's the way it is. First you're going to go, oh! And then all of a sudden you're going to go, oh, this is cool. This is some loving stuff that's coming down right now. And okay, so then the love starts to come at you in ways you've never experienced it before, and then you have to watch reaching your upper limit, which is you have received as much as you think you deserve. You can't take no more. It's just so much love and so much good, and it's more than I think I deserve. I have to sabotage it.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta do something stupid now. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You've been there. Things were going good and you screwed it up. But you didn't know why. It's because you reached your capacity to receive. And so then you have to try to make the world be the way you used to think it was, so you can feel like you kind of know what's going on. I know how to deal with fear of love. I know how to do distrust. I know how to do suspicion. But I don't know how to do openness, generosity, giving, releasing. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to do that. But I do know how to be suspicious of every one of you and to judge you. So I'll just fall back to my default setting. Now, if you want to know what you really believe, the easiest way to find out what you really believe, okay, is how you handle upset. Because when you're upset, you always go back to whatever your default setting is. Not when you're feeling cool. Everything's going cool, everybody can pretend they're spiritual giants. But when something doesn't go the way you want it to go, how do you react? That's your core belief system. Like if somebody, if I go to my job and they say, you're going to be laid off tomorrow. And I go, okay, let me go to the park and start reading the Course in Miracles and remind myself that everything's for my own best interest. I really don't know what this is for. I place the future in the hands of God. This is a call for love. This is some kind of opportunity that the universe is giving me. And I really didn't want to be there at some level anyway. They never would have fired me because I create my own reality. And so Spirit is trying to open me up to something totally different. If that's the first thing I do when I hear bad news, then I can safely assume that I am believing the stuff that I'm reading in these classes. But if they lay me off and then I go, oh my God, why did they lay me off? It must be the economy. It's because I'm black. That's why I got laid off. They lay off black people. That's the real reason it's happening. The economy. That damn Obama and the Republicans, you know what I'm saying? It's like, if you go immediately to all the external causes that make you look like you're a victim, then you don't believe a doggone thing you're studying in all these classes. If that becomes your immediate response is I'm a victim, then you haven't got it yet. Your core beliefs have not been changed. So it's the way you respond to upset that lets you know what level of consciousness you own. And whoever you're physically attracted to lets you know what level of consciousness you're on. So if you say you're all about spirit and you're all about light and you're all about peace and you're all about expansion of consciousness, but every time you hook up with somebody, they're subconscious as a rock, then you have to admit to yourself that some part of your mind is dead asleep. And that's why you were attracted to them. Especially if they physically turn you on. Like he says, feeling is everything. So if you all turned on by them, that's your consciousness. I hate to disappoint everybody like that. All of a sudden it was a change in the energy of the room completely. But pay attention to who you're attracted to, because it tells you a lot about your level of consciousness, especially if you feel them and you feel it. That way you won't deceive yourself by thinking you're further along than you are and then hurt yourself because you're really not where you think you are. And that's what you don't want to do. You don't want to deceive yourself, because when you deceive yourself, that's when you hurt yourself. Pain is self-deception. It means you fool yourself in some way. You're deceiving yourself in some way. So I always pay, okay, Earl, you're hurting. What are you fooling yourself about? What are you deceiving yourself about? What are you lying to yourself about? You're hurting. You're hurting. That's your clue that you're not remembering the truth in some way. Ask Spirit what it is you need to recognize. That's what you do. You don't condemn yourself. You just ask, what is it that I need to recognize in this situation? But don't condemn yourself, because nothing's condemning you because you're making a mistake but you. Yes.
So if you go to get fired and you go to the park and you're studying the Course in Miracles and you're telling yourself these true things, you don't necessarily have to feel at peace. You can still feel fearful.
Yes, it's okay to feel your feelings.
Okay.
It's okay to be honest with yourself about your feelings. As a matter of fact, it's important that you fully feel your feelings and don't pretend that you don't feel disappointed, that you don't feel afraid, or whatever's come up. Okay, that's very important. I'm glad you said that, because it's not about repressing and pretending and being in denial about what you feel. It's just about how you handle it, which is, I'm feeling my feeling about losing my job. Then I'm going to say, I created this, and I'm giving it all the meaning that it has for me, right? So I can empower myself, take away the victim. Then I tell myself, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I have the ability to create my reality, because the Course says you want to go for some gratitude. And then the last thing you do is say, and I'm still as God created me. I'm still as love created me. It hasn't changed my value. It hasn't changed my significance. I'm still the precious, lovely, valuable being that I always was, because my value is not dependent on whether or not I have a job.
Even if I'm still feeling fear.
Even if I'm still feeling fear. Because just what your feelings tell you the truth about what you believe. So they're great for getting in touch with what you believe about yourself. But that doesn't mean your feelings are based on the truth. So that's a very important distinction. Your feelings tell you what you believe, but that doesn't mean what you're feeling is necessarily true.
So if you're applying the truth to your feelings of fear, then you're evolving?
If you're applying the truth to your feelings of fear, you're transforming the fear and you're releasing the fear and you're letting the fear move through you. And then on the other side, like he said at the very beginning, on the other side of your fear is the love and the power and the guidance that you're looking for. It's on the other side of you letting it move through you rather than judging yourself for the feeling and then analyzing everything. Because when you're analyzing, you're holding on to it to analyze it. But if I feel it and remind myself of the truth, it moves through me. That's why when someone's feeling a feeling, you want to go ahead and let them feel their feelings and stop trying to make them not feel their feelings. Like I watch people who have friends or relatives that have go through transition called death, and I watch them feel almost guilty about grieving. They're like, okay, you know, they get ready to cry and they catch themselves. Like it would be something wrong with crying about it. You know, you watch people all the time. It's not okay for you to feel your grief. You know, or it's not, if you're a spiritual being, you certainly wouldn't feel anger for more than a second. So now you're beating yourself up because you don't feel angry about what's happened. It's okay to feel the anger, but you tell yourself what the anger is. And according to the truth, of course, your anger is always about something or somebody not acting out your script. That anger can always be reduced to either I'm trying to make somebody feel guilty or somebody didn't act out my script. That's why I'm mad at you. You didn't do it the way I thought you should do it and the way I wanted you to do it. I'm angry at you for dying. My script was that you didn't die. You see what I'm saying? Anger is always a script that's not being acted out. I'm mad at you because you didn't call me at 8 o'clock. What? My script was that you should have called me at 8 o'clock. So I'm mad. So all anger, anger is never justified, but we still feel it. What I mean by never justified is that there's ultimately no reason for you to be angry if you look at it correctly. But the anger is coming from my judgment of the situation. But I still shouldn't feel guilty about it. It's just the way I'm feeling. It's my call for love. Anger is my call for love, my call for the truth. It's a prayer. It's deep. How do I feel? How do I feel?
I just want to back you up a second.
Mm-hmm.
Previously you said when you get things are going really good, everything's going real good, you reach your capacity
To receive.
Now you screw up. I wrote that down, but then I put in a word, reach your perceived capacity, because are we ever really...
Right, that's implied by what I said. Yeah, my perceived capacity to receive.
Because if you would perceive a higher capacity...
Then I wouldn't have reached my limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's always my perceived capacity. To everything is perception. Absolutely.
So if you perceive yourself as being great, in one with everybody, and in love and perfect, as we're taught in the course, we are perfect.
Right.
Then you're not going to reach capacity. You're just going to
That's
receive more love and give more love and receive.
That's right. If you're at that level of enlightenment where you really recognize your oneness and connection with all things, and you see yourself as totally loving and loved, you would have an unlimited capacity to receive. As a matter of fact, you would see receiving abundantly as ordinary. You wouldn't even see it as something special. You would just see it as, oh, of course, I should have a loving relationship. Of course, I should have abundance and not lack. Of course, I should have peace. I'm an unlimited, loving, powerful, all-powerful, connected to God being. That's child's play. But if I've lost sight of who I am, then I'm afraid that there's not enough, and so that's going to make me defensive, and it's going to make me competitive, and it's going to make me jealous, and it's going to make me possessive because I think there's not enough to go around. So if you give me love, I've had people tell me that when it looks like you're giving somebody else your attention, I feel like this attention is being taken away from me. So then they feel jealous because they think there's not enough love to go around. You can't love me and her and him and her. There's not enough love for that. And besides, I'm a psychic vampire drain who don't even think I'm loved. I need to slurp every bit of the life force out of your being. That's how I show you my love. And so I'm needy. You can't ever give me enough love. You better tell me you love me 100 times a day. You better not go 15 minutes without calling me. I better know where you are every minute. Did you look at that person? First they tell you, you better not have sex with nobody but me. Then you don't do that. Then they say, well, you better not hang out with nobody but me. Then you stop doing that. And then they go, you better not even think about nobody but me. You find that every time you give in to someone else's fear, instead of making them feel more secure, if they haven't been working on themselves, they just come up with another limitation that you need to do to make them feel better. So you get just the opposite of what you thought was going to happen. You go, okay, well, I'm going into agreement with not doing this because it makes you afraid, but you're not working on yourself, so you're just going to need me to do something else that doesn't make you afraid. Now, that's different from you're working on yourself, doing spiritual growth, studying, trying to go beyond your fears, and some fears are coming up for you. So how can I compassionately support you in going through that fear? Because you're still trying to go beyond your fears. See the difference? It's like I'm being compassionate with the thing that's making you afraid because I see you really do want to go beyond that fear. Because how do I know? Because you're working on yourself. But if you're not working on yourself and you're still making these demands on me, then nothing's going to happen other than I'm going to be more and more limited and you're going to still be afraid. Why? Because I'm not doing the thing that's triggering you. So just because I'm not doing the thing that's triggering you does not mean you don't still have that psychological quality that needs to be corrected. I'm just not pushing that button. So you're not growing. It doesn't mean we're in a much more peaceful, loving relationship. No, you have the potential to go off on me as soon as I push your don't dance with another woman button. So what I do when I don't dance with other women, okay, then you feel cool. Yeah, but you're still wounded. You're still dysfunctional. You still haven't dealt with yourself and healed yourself at all. So do not mistake avoidance as growth. Just because a person is not triggering you doesn't mean you are peaceful. They just haven't touched your thing. And somebody is. They're guaranteed to. Because you want to grow. So you're going to make sure you attract somebody to you that pushes all your buttons. You'll be the monogamous woman who attracts the man that's polyamorous, open, and millionaire amorous. You know what I'm saying? It's not just polyamorous, but million amorous. Million amorous. You know why? Because you're going to challenge yourself to go beyond that thing that you're letting limit you. So you'll set up a situation subconsciously that'll make you confront the very thing you're most afraid of. And you wonder, well, why I'm not attracted to the monogamous guy since I'm monogamous? You know, well, because the truth is, you really haven't gotten to the point that you think you deserve that kind of peace yet, number one. So you're not attracting somebody who really is compatible with the way you are, because that'd be too peaceful. And you don't think you deserve to be peaceful. You know, you don't see yourself as whole and complete and loving and cool. So you don't deserve to feel peaceful. So you're going to make sure you had a person that's just the opposite that will make you feel secure. And they'll show up, and you'll be so attracted to them. You'll be, oh, I gotta have them. So just remember that we're here to grow. So even the people that trigger us are total blessings, as well as the people who don't. They're both total blessings because they both give us the opportunity to look at what needs to be healed within ourselves, and then to have the Holy Spirit of the higher self correct that. So you should be as grateful for the people that upset you, Earl, as you are for the people who you absolutely feel really cool with, because both of them make you aware of what's going on inside yourself that needs to be healed so that you can feel peaceful. And the minute you go, this quality that's upsetting me is inside of me, and it's something in me that needs to be corrected. As soon as you say that, there's no need for those people to keep showing up in your reality to make you aware. So the people who bug you start to disappear out of your life because they were only showing up to get you out of denial about yourself. Now pay attention to that, I'm telling you. And what'll happen is, all of a sudden you find yourself in a world where there's nobody irritating you at all. And that's the world I live in. Yeah. There's nobody that's upset with me about anything that I know of. And if they are, I don't know about it, so I'm still cool. Okay, so why? Because every time I would see somebody that irritated me or upset me, I would say, that's my quality, that's my quality, that's my quality. Oh, you're selfish. Thank you. That's a quality in my mind. Oh, you're not compassionate. Oh, that's a quality in my mind. See, I started owning all the characteristics of the people that upset me. I owned it as being a part of my own consciousness, so there was no need for them to show up in my experience to make me aware of my triggers, because I went ahead, I think they were calling me trigger, But anyway, I think I go ahead and
Take a minute.
I think we're saying you trigger. Okay. So how do you get rid of all the people that you call assholes? How do you get rid of those people? You own your own inner asshole.
Yeah.
You do. You go, oh, you selfish. Okay, there's a part of me that's selfish. Oh man, you a liar. Oh, there's a part of me that's a liar. That's what you do.
Is it okay to thank them for so beautifully reflecting?
Oh, absolutely. If you could, you could tell them, yeah, you have the most beautiful asshole I've ever seen. You are the most beautiful asshole that I've ever met. And that will transform them. That'd be the last thing that they would have expected. You know what I'm saying? You're the best, worst boyfriend I've ever had. You're the best, worst girlfriend I've ever had. Because you're helping me become aware of what I need to, as spirit, to correct within myself. And so if I'll go ahead and own it, instead of saying to somebody else and it has nothing to do with me, those people will begin to fade out of your experience. I'm telling you, before you know it, you won't be surrounded by people who are irritating you all the time. But as long as you deny it, and say that you're totally separate from everything you're seeing and it has nothing to do with you, they're going to, more and more of them are going to show up until you go, uncle, give up and surrender and go within. It's really that way. Yeah, get your hand up.
You're talking about people pushing your buttons and whatever, and we're looking for people to push our buttons. And
unconsciously.
Unconsciously, whatever.
Yeah.
But we find a button pusher. Does it matter? I think what's important is how we deal with that button being pushed.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Whether we get angry or we come back with anger or we say thank you.
Right. Right. And that's what I'm saying. You'll get to the point that you will appreciate the love on the other side of the obstacle. When you start handling it and owning it, especially in a relationship, that there's all of us have had some experience of having an upset with a partner or a friend, and then you all making up and it being more passionate than it was before y'all had the upset, right? Haven't some of y'all experienced that, where it looked like after the upset you all were even deeper into each other than you were before? Well, that's what I'm saying. On the other side of the fear is the love. So you'll get to the point that you'll almost be glad to use your relationship to bring your stuff up for healing, so that number one, you'll get rid of that thing that's your own psychological block, and you'll get a chance to have that incredible joining on the other side of the separation that y'all felt from each other. So it will become, instead of you feeling defensive when you get upset with each other, you all actually get to the point you'll be excited about it, because you know you're getting ready to get rid of some block that you need to get rid of, and you know on the other side of that you're going to be more in love with each other than you were at first. Why? Because you would have gotten rid of a fear. You would have gotten rid of some thought that was not helpful to yourself or your relationship. So that's like freeing up another part of you to be more loving. Check that out. Think about that for a second. Yes.
But am I hearing this correctly? It sounds like both people need to be on that path of that recognition.
Absolutely.
Otherwise,
Absolutely. If you get in a relationship where you're the only one that's trying to practice the truth and the other person is not interested in it at all, do you know what happens? They're completely happy to receive all of your consciousness. They'll love the fact that you're forgiving, and they'll love the fact that you're trying to be responsible, and they'll love the fact that you're trying to be compassionate with them, and they'll love that. They'll love the freedom you're trying to give them, because you're the one that's trying to be conscious. So when they go off, then you are forgiving. They love that. But the problem when you're with someone who's the opposite from you is that when you need the support, when you need the compassion, when you need them to see you as a call for love, when your ego comes up, there ain't no way in the world that they can do it, and they attack you. So yeah, you can go ahead and hook up with people that's totally different from you if you want to, but you better be darn sure ready to be the one that's doing all the forgiving. You better be ready to be the one that's always having to take the high road and take it by yourself. You got to be ready to take 100% responsibility for the relationship for both of you. So I hope whatever they're giving you is worth it. It better be some good stuff they giving you. Because
so at what point do you say, okay, I've attracted the sin because I'm going to grow, and at what point do you say, okay, fuck you, I'm out of here.
Is that the point that you want to be truly happy? Thank you for sharing. Because if I'll be honest with myself, there's been many times I wish I had just said I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? You know, is that I stay too long. And you can always tell when you stay too long. Because if you stay too long, it's becoming increasingly painful. That's how you, it's just that simple. If it's getting more and more and more painful and more and more and more challenging, unless you are welcoming that as an opportunity to have your triggers healed, then it would be best to choose out of it, because you're just increasing your grievances and increasing your guilt. Now, if you're actually seeing it as, oh, come ahead, come on with it, push my buttons, bring the stuff up that I need to release and have forgiveness and see in a different way. That's okay. If you're able to look at it in such a way that you only see it as benefiting you in some way, hey, hang in there. But if all it's doing is building more resentment and more fear and more upset, then you're not doing yourself or the other person a favor by sticking into something, especially after you have honestly communicated from your heart what's really valuable to you, what's really going on, and you've asked them to help you see it another way. Let's work together to go beyond our blocks. And they go, I ain't interested in that old crazy stuff you into. I'm not interested. And when, if you stay there, you deserve everything that you go through with them. And so stop complaining, because you're the one that's choosing to stay there and give yourself that experience. Because they were honest with you. They said, I ain't interested. I think it's stupid. I don't really want to do this. Well, then what you mad at them for? They're being completely honest with you. It's you the one that's making the error. It's you the one that keep on hanging in there no matter what, and they told you I ain't interested. So you need to leave them alone. And once they say, go to hell, you know, I'm not interested, or you dealing with stupid stuff and you still want to stay in a relationship, that's your responsibility at that point. You got to be the one to leave them alone. And then go, I'm going to accept you as you are because I'm choosing to stay. And so thank you for letting me know how you're really feeling. You are not lying to me. You are not deceiving me. Why? Because you told me you weren't interested. That it's not what you want. So why am I mad at you like you're somehow or another mistreating me? You would be mistreating me if you pretended it was what you wanted and it wasn't. That would be the deception. But you just flat out saying, I think you out of your friggin' mind. That weird, you create your own reality. What you are about beyond the body. You know, what's wrong? You need to go get to the hospital. Something wrong with you. A person that thinks your path is crazy might not be your soulmate. I know, but she's such a good lover, doll. She make $200,000 a year. You out of your mind? Ain't going nowhere. So you need to be honest with yourself about why you staying. You know, just be honest with yourself. The universe loves you no matter how many stupid things you do. Lord have mercy, it's 8:25. Let's acknowledge ourselves for another episode of As the Black Man Rants. So, let's do the financial expression of appreciation. I really thank you for sharing with me in my full-time ministry of trust in God. I really, really do. Those on the internet, thank you for your generosity. And if you want to make a financial expression of appreciation, you can go to earlpurdy.com and you'll be able to do that. Also, I'm available for one-on-one sessions, healing sessions, taking all this stuff that I'm talking about and applying it to your personal situation. It's called Clarity Sessions. If you go to my website, earlpurdy.com, it explains everything about them, and I put all of my classes on YouTube and on my website. So I have over 800 videos on YouTube. I do not remember uploading 800 videos, but there are 800 videos uploaded on YouTube. So I really, and it blows my mind every time I see that. You know, and in the last count, it was 300,000 views or something like that.
Wow.
So I don't, so I know that's Holy Spirit. I don't have a book out. I'm not famous. I haven't been on Oprah or anything else. So I know that there is something else handling this for me. But I just have to be willing to show up and be used. And the promise is, if you're willing to be used for love and used for truth, you will be given everything you need to stay in some form or another. So if you're struggling, it just means you have not started to fulfill your function yet. And that's really just truly dedicating yourself to your own personal awakening and forgiveness. That's all that's being asked. And giving and receiving is the same, and then all that you give is given to yourself. So you're never giving to me, per se. You're really giving to yourself. And if you would like to receive for what you do, it would make sense if you also gave. Because it's going to be a mirror. It's going to reflect you, So when do I share the most? When I think my financial flow is ebbing. That's when I have to be really clear with myself. Earl, don't you dare hold back because you think that you don't have enough. If you think you don't have enough, that's when you need to friggin' give the most. So try not, and I'm not saying that just for my own personal benefit, try not to be a member of Future Givers of America. Who are the future givers? They're always the people who never share, but always tell themselves they're going to do it when they have it. Well, you're not going to have it until you give. It just don't work that way. You got to be the nicest person in the world, but the universe is going to reflect you back to you. So actions speak louder than words. It took me a while to get there because I kept expecting things from people that I myself was not giving. I was expecting them to be kind and loving and open and conscious, regardless of the state of consciousness I was in. And then I realized I had to be what I wanted to have. So even though I'm basically a shy person, I want to be around alive, enthusiastic people like I was around tonight. So I have to overcome my own shyness to be enthusiastic myself, to give what I want to receive. And when I gave it, I received it. Notice that. See, if I had to come in and I had been, let's do the way of mastery. Like most spiritual classes, let's do the way of mastery. We will wait until you choose once again. And that's cool, but that ain't me. You know what I'm saying? I want some people around that say, fuck you, I'm out of here. That's what I want my students to say. I'd be glad to come to a class like that and then turn around and jam on some Michael Jackson. See, that's what I'm talking about. I never was turned on with the traditional idea of heaven. Who the hell want to listen to harps all day? That's not I was thought, send me to hell. That's where all my buddies gonna be anyway. We'll party in hell. It's like the devil was having a much better time than most people. And they said, well, you're a devil worshiper, Well, it's like he's having a lot more fun. But there ain't no such thing as the devil. Take a breath. Feel your feelings. Feelings are everything. Feel your feelings. Feelings are everything. So you're welcome to come to my Course in Miracles class on Sunday at 1 p.m. and come back next week to the Way of Mastery at 7 p.m.
The cool breeze flows, reminder us. Sun gets down, it's worth the cost. I'd love to stay. The city calls me home.
So I want you to think of some situation or circumstance that you've been using to make yourself feel upset. Think about some person that triggers you in some way. Somebody that you don't like. If you see them in King Super, you go down the other aisle. And tell yourself, I am determined to see this differently. 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 I am determined to see. Now think of that person and go, I am determined to see them differently. I am determined to see them differently. I am determined to see them differently. You know who I'm talking about. I am determined to see them differently. Thank you for triggering me. 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 I don't need it anymore. I don't need it anymore. What? I don't need it anymore. Thank you, but I don't need it anymore. Would you acknowledge yourself, Holy Spirit? No. We are mighty companions. Yeah, hugs are available. Oh yes, if you haven't signed the mailing list, please do, because I sent out links to these classes when I post them on YouTube so you can watch them. And also if I'm not going to be here or whatever, I can contact you and let you know. So make sure that you're on the list, all right? And hugs are available to those who would like to have hugs.
Pick me, pick me.
I'm scared to pick you.